Hello everyone, Miss Carrie here, and I will be scrap lifting a hip kit design for a back to school layout. Today I will be working with the April main kit, which has some lovely textures and patterns. I'm going to be pairing this with the Pocket Life kit and items from the embellishment kit. I can't wait to share this project with you. Today I'm scrap lifting one of the Hip Kit design team members. I discovered this amazing layout created by Sophie, which I'm going to pop up on the screen. And I thought that this tag pattern paper from the April Hip Kit would be a perfect alternative to use in place of those tags on the original piece. The photos are also cut into tag shapes, so I will use the PL kit die to help me with that. And I'll probably bring in a few of the icons from this Pocket Life collection to add to my page. From the April kit, I will also be using a few of the florals, stamps, and other images. All of the items I'm using to create this page will be listed in the description below, along with a link to the April Hip Kit. The photos I'm using to create this page were taken on the first day of school. So I'm going to create a school theme using the measuring tape as borders. These were created using the measure tape stamp. With black ink, I stamped the images onto this circular pattern paper, then trimmed them down to 3/4 of an inch to create my borders. Sophie's original design has horizontal tags and photos, but my photos are vertical. So I decided to rotate the design and place my photos and tags across the page below the measuring tape images. I'm going to sew these borders onto some white cardstock in a way that will allow me to tuck my items under the border and create dimension on my page. This is much like creating a pleat fold in a piece of fabric. With a scoring tool, I'm creating 2 lines, and then I'm going to fold the cardstock to form a sort of pleat. I laid the 2 ruler pieces over that fold, then stitched through the ruler borders and the folded cardstock. When this is finished, there will be a space under the border to tuck the items, and the fold will lift that ruler off the page, creating a bit of dimension. The background piece is going to be framed with a soft blue cardstock. At the base of the page, I'm going to bring in a little pattern paper to add some weight and stability to the layout. I tore the edges of this pattern paper and layered some pieces to give it more of a worn vintage look. With a die, I cut the photos into tag shapes and added some little covers over the holes. With that PL die, I also cut a few of the patterns from the Pocket Life cards. I selected colors and patterns that were similar to the tags on the printed pattern sheet and ones that would match my photos. I've also gathered a few of the fabric tags and printed tag die cuts from the embellishment packs. The tag images from the printed paper were simple to cut out with a paper trimmer. Instead of trying to fussy cut the arcs, I used a multi-punch tool. I just punched out the 2 corners with the larger size, then punched a smaller hole for the tag. I have always enjoyed the projects that Sophie creates. She has such a classic look to her projects, and the colors and patterns she selects are always so well put together. The one I'm scrap lifting has a softer color palette with black and white photos. It's quite the contrast to the bright colors I have on my page today. I don't usually use this many bright colors on a page together, so it is going to take me a few minutes to determine the best placement for all these tags. When I was cutting out the tags from the Pocket Life cards, I wanted to bring in some softer colors to tone down the bright patterns. I also cut my tags around some printed florals, grid patterns, and paint swishes to offset some of the patterns on the larger tags. I do like having a brighter color palette for this page because it is a better fit for the energetic and artistic middle schooler in the photos. Now I'm to the point where I have a basic idea of where I want all these tags to go, so I'm going to start adhering them in place. To create some dimension on this layout, I'm going to add some foam tape to the back of the photos and on the back of a few of the tags. When I was laying out the design for the tags, I made sure to vary the height within the layers. The original design has the tags laying horizontally across the page, which creates a lovely flow from left to right. Since I needed to rotate the design to fit my vertical photos, it's a little more difficult to create some flow on this page, so I'm working towards creating triangular flow instead of horizontal. I laid my photos in a triangular shape, then added tags near the photos in colors that were similar. I also laid floral patterns in a triangular formation and added some of the fabric tags and die cuts to break up the paper patterns. So instead of having you watch the entire process, I went ahead and finished this off camera. And now I want to bring a few florals to my page. When I was cutting out the tags from the pocket life sheets, I selected a pattern with a black floral design. So I'm going to build on that with these clear stickers. Many of the florals on the sticker sheet are large enough to cut in half and place on both sides of the photos, which creates a lovely floral frame. The April kit also has some bright floral die cuts and fabric flowers that I could have used on this layout, but I decided to stick with these simple clear stickers on the page. Like I said earlier, Sophie has a classic style to her pages, and I wanted to bring a bit of that simplicity to my design with the florals. I also feel like this page doesn't need any more color or texture added to it. Next to the photo at the base of the page, I have an empty tag that I'm going to be using for journaling. So I will frame the photo and the tag as one piece. This not only points out a focal piece on the page, it also adds a little more weight near the base of the layout. As I add those floral and leaf stickers, I am tucking a few of the items under the tags and letting them trail off into the white space around the photos. By doing this, I'm creating some movement and flow on the page, which will help lead your eye from photo to photo to photo. Alright, now that the florals are in place, I'm going to finish off the page with a few little phrases and icons. I'm going to start with some hearts. I chose 3 different pattern hearts to place next to each photo. Around these hearts, I'm going to add some puffy sticker icons and phrases. I like to repeat color, shape, and texture in my embellishment clusters, so each of these will have a floral, a phrase, and a heart. I chose 3 phrases to go along with that back to school theme. The one on the left says, "Leave your mark." The one on the right says, "So much potential." And the one near the lower photo says, "Best." Now I'm to the point where I need to decide on title placement, and I have to admit that I'm a little stuck. To help me out, I've placed the letters onto a piece of acetate, and I'm holding those over the layout to see if this fits with my design. Instead of fussing with this more on camera, I'm going to take a little break, and then I'll bring back the page and show you what I decided to do. So I'm not sure if I had too much coffee or was in an overthinking mood, but you may have noticed the page looks a little different. After taking a look at the original design, I thought that I would try to add some eyelets on the page like she had, and it didn't exactly go as planned. I think it worked out for the best though, because I like that white zigzag stitching much better than the blue I had earlier, and the soft pink title is a better fit for the page. One of my favorite things on Sophie's design was the bows she made out of twine. Since my page has more of a rough vintage middle school vibe, I decided to create frayed knots on my tags instead. I like the texture these add to the page. I'm going to share a few close-up photos of this layout so that you can see all the fun details. Today's project involves scraplifting a fellow Hip Kit team member and creating my own version of the design. The original was one of my favorites, and I was able to incorporate many of the components from the layout onto my own page using components from the April Hip Kit. A few of the items I used today are not part of the main kit, But if you're a member of the Hip Kit Club, you save $5 on the monthly kit and 15% on the coordinating items, and those ship free with your main kit. So if you want to grab yourself the Pocket Life Kit, the tag die, or the measure tape stamp, it's worth becoming a member. If you would like to learn more, I have added details in the description below. I want to thank you for joining me for another scrapbook project. If you would like to see more of my creations, you can visit my channel or follow Miss Carrie's Creations online. If you have any questions about this project or the supplies listed below, feel free to leave me a comment. I hope that you have a wonderful week, and I can't wait to see what you create.